Now, this is what how you expand on your purpose. For example, the first case note that I told you about, it's a bit like that, the first example. When you have told that he is going to be needing a physio, for example, you have told that he is going to be needing a physiotherapist, or if you are talking to an occupational therapist, you are providing a bit detail on his background. Mr. Jones has been seeing a physiotherapist for past 3 months. He currently walks for 30 minutes per day, although he reports that this is quite tiring. This is a bit detail into his past, immediate past. Not very much detail that's going to be in the history part of the letter. So next example is her non-fasting blood sugars are 7 to 8 millimole per liter, but her fasting blood sugar levels are usually in the 16 plus range, which is high. Therefore, I am referring her to you for your specialist advice. Now, the first part is the expanding part, and then he's saying that therefore, I am referring her to you for your specialist advice. Same are the third and fourth examples. So what we learn from these examples is that not all introductory paragraphs are going to be the same. They are going to be different, and you have to cater to the situation individually. So in summary, the purpose has to be immediately apparent, and it has to be sufficiently expanding. Why you are writing the letter? Why should the letter be read? And does the letter start with a clear explanation as to why you are writing the letter again? And then will the reader understand the situation by reading the first part of your letter? Are your requests obvious to find what you are asking the reader to do? And does the letter provide more detail than your opening explanation? So the next thing is the content. Content, it covers what you put into your letter and how you refer to the case notes. Now, which content to use and how to accurately represent that content that you have chosen to use. Whether the letter, actually I forgot to tell you, whether the letter is a referral, discharge, or any other type of letter, you need to be sure that its content provides all the information they need about the patient. It can be found all in the case notes. However, not all the case notes will be relevant to the letter. They will have extra information, and you will have to decide what information the reader needs and while accurately representing that case notes in the content form. Okay, so how to choose which content to use? When reading through the case notes, you should keep these questions in mind. Is there any existing professional relationship between the patient and the reader? What aspect of the patient's care will the reader be involved with? So the first question you'll be asking, why will there be an existing professional relationship? That happens when the letter is to a patient's GP. It's a general physician, and usually everyone in the UK has a general physician, and they have their entire history starting from the birth. So when this is usually in the case when a specialist doctor is writing a letter to the GP updating about the patient's situation. And then what aspect of the patient's care will the reader be involved? For example, if we are writing to an endocrinologist about a patient's diabetes mellitus, we do not have to tell him that he had diarrhea like almost 10 to 15 years back. That's what it actually means. So for example, a hospital occupational therapist writes a letter discharging patient Jack Spencer to the occupational therapist at the care center where he will receive rehabilitation. So in this situation, the reader and the patient do not have an existing professional relationship. So the letter will need to include the information about the patient's current abilities and inabilities for the reader to get a clear understanding. Although the case notes may provide in much more detail about the patient's children, grandchildren, his jobs, whether he's retired or not, his financial status, these details will not be needed. and therefore they are irrelevant and they will not impact the care that the occupational therapist will be providing. The second example here is the hospital occupational therapist was writing a letter to the patient's regular GP to update them on their progress. Now, the patient has already has a relationship with his GP, as I've explained to you. Now, while the patient's social history is still not necessary, but you have to provide details about his current abilities and inabilities, but that should be altered as well. The letter would need to provide an update about how these have changed. The GP may already have an idea about the patient's abilities and inabilities, but you have to tell him about any update that has happened since the patient has seen the GP. You have to tell him about any new information. Now you know that what content to use and how we'll discuss how to accurately represent it. Okay. So this is the second key part of the content, accurately representing the case notes. Summaries or paraphrase parts of the case notes you think are relevant and important to the reader. However, it's important to represent the case notes accurately by not changing the meaning of the information. Paraphrasing means you have to change the words, for example, using the synonyms of the words, but not changing the facts. During paraphrasing, you can affect accuracy by not matching the exact meaning of the words in the case notes with another word and altering the time frame of the situation by changing the tense used. Using the correct tense is very, very important, and this will be discussed in the second session because that's where we are discussing about the grammar and the tenses and all that. So here are two examples. Case notes say patient is moving to Centerville to live with daughter and her husband. And the letter says Mr. Dunbar is relocating to Centerville to be nearer his daughter and son-in-law. That's actually inaccurate. He is going to be living with his daughter, not near his daughter. And the second case note says atorvastatin 20 milligram 1 main added glipizide 5 milligram 2 main. And the letter says glipizide 5 milligram taken every morning will be added to the atorvastatin 20 milligram also taken in the morning. It will not be added. That implies when we are using will be, it implies that it's going to be added in the future. We are adding the patient, we are adding that today. It's going to start from today. So tenses make a lot of difference and can affect accuracy. And this is one of the major parts where people make mistakes and their marks can get deducted. So always finish your letter with a few minutes to spare where you can read your letter again. Have enough time at the end to read through your letter as the reader and ask the following questions to yourself while you're reading. How would the reader feel at the end? Will the reader know what they need to do to continue the care? Do they have the right information to action this? Are the facts correct? Have you represented the information using accurate grammar and vocabulary? In case you have answered yes to all these questions, these 5 questions, then you are well on your way to scoring high on content. Okay, so that's the second criteria, and moving on to the third one. The conciseness and clarity. Conciseness and clarity is the third one, and it looks at 3 key areas. Whether you have not included unnecessary information, how clearly you have summarized the case notes, and how clearly this summary is communicated to the reader. Now, I know you must be thinking, how is this different from content? Think of content and conciseness and clarity together. Many of the skills and strategies and questions you apply in both these areas are quite similar. Content is the criteria that assesses the information that you have to include in your letter, while on the other hand, conciseness and clarity assesses the information you have to omit from your letter. So, when it comes to deciding what is and what isn't relevant, test takers tend to make three mistakes: including information to the reader they already know, or outside the scope of the patient's care. For example, when you're writing a letter to the GP, he must already know how many children he has. Even if it is relevant or irrelevant, you do not have to include how many children does the patient have. Second one is providing too much background or historical details to the current situation. For example, as I have given you this example before, talking about an episode of acute enteritis that happened years ago. And then not grouping, third one is not grouping similar information together. For example, during the case notes, you notice that the patient is having multiple episodes of repeated falls that are resulting in fractures. That they are happening randomly, but have been discussed again and again, have been mentioned again and again. You have, if you find this relevant, you have to group them together, saying that the patient is having repeated falls resulting in fractures every time. Now, these are the case notes for the writing task that I mentioned earlier. Let's read the writing task first. Using the information in the case notes, write a letter to Ms. Graham, an occupational therapist, detailing Mr. Jones' situation and requesting an assessment of his workplace. Now we are talking to an occupational therapist. So let's see the first highlighted part, 1988, appendix removed. Do you think that this detail is necessary for an occupational therapist, that the patient got his appendix removed in 1988? That's irrelevant. He got married, and he's married to Susan Jones, and he has 3 children. This is irrelevant again. It's not going to affect the care the occupational therapist is going to provide to Mr. Jones. Then his current medication is non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs or a muscle relaxant that blocks pain. Occupational therapist is supposed to look at his workplace and make necessary arrangements. He doesn't need to know about his current medication. Then again, these two visits on 28th June 2019 and 29th July 2019, the occupational therapist, Ms. Graham, doesn't need to, sorry, it's a she doesn't need to know about the details of these 2 visits. She just needs to know the details of his most recent visit that happened in 30th August 2019. So you have to identify which information to remove from your content.